Am I the a-hole for bringing my own food to a dinner party? So, my friend Emily, 30F, invited me, 31M, to this fancy dinner party she was hosting. She spent days planning the menu, talking about how much effort she put into it. Thing is, I'm a very picky eater. I knew I wouldn't like most of what she was making, so I brought my own meal, a burger and fries from my favorite fast food place. I didn't make a big deal about it, just sat down and started eating. Emily looked offended and asked why I didn't even try her food. I told her, I didn't want to waste it if I didn't like it. She got all upset, saying it was disrespectful and embarrassing in front of her other guests. Now she's mad and says I was rude, but I don't see the issue. I wasn't expecting her to accommodate me, I just handled it myself. Am I the a-hole?
Am I the a-hole for not giving my dog to my neighbor after their daughter got attached? I, 32M, have a golden retriever named Buddy. I adopted him 3 years ago after he was abandoned at a shelter, and he's my best friend. He's well-trained, gentle, and loves everyone. A few months ago, a new family moved into the house next door, a couple with a 6-year-old daughter, Lily. Lily loves Buddy. Every time we're outside, she runs over to pet him, and I let her throw his ball or give him treats. Her parents told me she had been asking for a dog for years, but they weren't ready for that responsibility. Last week, they knocked on my door with an insane request. They asked if I would give them Buddy, because Lily had become so attached to him. I laughed, thinking they were joking, but they were dead serious. They said it would be a kind thing to do, since Lily had already formed a bond with him, and it was cruel of me to keep him when she loved him so much. I told them Buddy was my dog, my family, and that I wasn't just going to hand him over. They argued that since I worked full-time, I wasn't around enough, and Buddy would have a better life with them. I shut that down immediately. A few days later, Buddy went missing. I searched everywhere. I was devastated. I put up flyers, checked shelters, and called local vets. Then, I noticed something strange. Whenever I walked past my neighbor's house, Lily would be looking out the window at me, crying. I got a bad feeling. That night, I waited until their lights were out and walked quietly to their backyard. That's when I heard it. A whimper. I peeked over the fence and saw a small doghouse in their yard. And inside, Buddy, they had stolen him. I called the police immediately. When the cops arrived, my neighbors tried to play it off, saying they found Buddy wandering the street and were keeping him safe. But I had security camera footage showing them luring him away with treats. Buddy was returned to me, and my neighbors got hit with a fine and a warning. They've been avoiding me ever since, but I heard through other neighbors that they're telling everyone I'm heartless for not giving Buddy to Lily. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to give up my dog and getting the police involved? Am I the a-hole for walking out of my girlfriend's birthday dinner? I, 28M, have been dating my girlfriend Lisa, 26F, for about 2 years. For her birthday, she wanted to have a fancy dinner with friends and family. I made reservations at her favorite restaurant, got her a thoughtful gift, and was excited to celebrate with her. The night started off great. Everyone was having a good time. Lisa was happy, and the food was amazing. Then after the main course, Lisa stood up to give a little speech. She thanked everyone for coming, talked about how much she loved her friends and family, and then said, and of course, a special thank you to my soulmate, my rock, the love of my life, Daniel. Daniel? Not me. The entire table went silent. My stomach dropped. Daniel is her coworker. I knew they were friends, but I had no idea she felt that way about him. I sat there in shock as she kept talking about how he's always been there for her, and how she doesn't know what she'd do without him. Meanwhile, I, the guy who planned the entire night, was just sitting there like an idiot. When she finally finished, people awkwardly clapped, and I just got up and left. I didn't say anything. I just grabbed my jacket and walked out. Lisa texted me a bunch of times, saying I embarrassed her and overreacted. She said I should have known what she meant, and that I was being dramatic for ruining her birthday. But I don't know. If I'm not the love of her life, then why am I even here? Am I the a-hole for walking out? Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my brother's fiancé wear my mom's wedding dress? So my 26F, mom passed away 5 years ago. She and my dad had an amazing love story, and she left behind a beautiful wedding dress that she had always hoped I would wear someday. It was delicate, vintage, and honestly, the most sentimental thing I own. My older brother, Jake, 29M, recently got engaged to his fiancée, Lauren, 28F. I've always had a rocky relationship with Lauren, not outright bad, but she's never really tried to bond with me. She's the kind of person who gets what she wants, no matter what. A few weeks ago, she asked me if she could wear my mom's dress for their wedding. I was shocked. She knew how much the dress meant to me. When I hesitated, she said it would be a beautiful way to honor mom, and that it should stay in the family. I told her I wasn't comfortable with it, and she got upset, saying I was being selfish. Jake then called me, saying I should think about what mom would have wanted, and that Lauren would take good care of it. I stood my ground, and now they're both furious. Our dad is neutral, but some family members are saying I should just let her wear it, because I don't even have a wedding planned. Here's where it gets weird. My aunt called me last night, and told me to never let Lauren wear the dress. She said she had a bad feeling, and told me to check something. So I did. I went through my mom's old wedding albums, and my heart dropped. Lauren's mom was in the pictures. As a bridesmaid, confused, I started digging. It turns out, years before my parents got married, my mom and Lauren's mom had a massive falling out, because Lauren's mom was in love with my dad. She tried to break them up, and even confessed her love for him before the wedding. My mom cut her off completely after that. Now here's the kicker. Lauren's dress for her wedding? It's almost identical to my mom's. She's been trying to get the real one all along. I confronted Lauren, and she completely freaked out, saying I was digging up ancient history and being ridiculous. But I don't think this is a coincidence. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to let her wear the dress? Or am I just being paranoid? Am I the a-hole for pranking my sister by filling her shampoo bottle with hair dye? 19M. Live with my older sister Jenna, 22F. We have always had a prank war going on, but it is usually harmless stuff like hiding each other's shoes or replacing sugar with salt. Recently, Jenna pulled a prank on me by putting saran wrap under the toilet seat. And let us just say it ended badly for me. I wanted revenge, but thought I would do something funny. I got a semi-permanent hair dye in bright pink, emptied half of her shampoo bottle, and replaced it with the dye. The next day, she showered before work and came out with streaks of pink in her blonde hair. She absolutely freaked out because she had a big presentation that day and did not have time to fix it. She yelled at me, saying I ruined her professional image and that she could not believe I would mess with her appearance. I told her it was just a prank and the dye would wash out in a week or two. She is furious and has not spoken to me since. My mom says I took the prank too far, but my dad thinks it was funny and that she overreacted. So am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my brother's kids stay at my house? I 32F. Live alone in a small one-bedroom apartment. It's cozy, and I've worked hard to make it my sanctuary. My brother, 35M, has 3 kids ages 6, 8 and 10. Last week, his house had a plumbing issue, and they needed somewhere to stay while it got fixed. He asked if they could crash at my place for a few days. I said no, explaining that my apartment is too small for 4 extra people, especially 3 kids. I offered to help pay for a hotel instead, but he got upset and said family shouldn't have to pay for things like that. He accused me of being selfish and said his kids would only need to sleep on the floor or couch. I stood firm, saying I couldn't handle the chaos in my space, but now he and my parents are calling me heartless. My mom even said, "You're going to regret this when you need help one day." Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my brother and his kids stay in my tiny apartment? Am I the a-hole for locking the bathroom door and making my roommate poop in a bag? I 25F. Share an apartment with my roommate, Katie, 26F. We only have one bathroom, and lately, Katie has been hogging it for hours to do her skincare routine. Sometimes even while I've been desperate to go. I've asked her repeatedly to leave the bathroom if I need to use it, but she brushes me off, saying, "Just hold it a little longer." Last week, I got home after a big meal and really needed to go. Katie was in the bathroom doing her usual routine. I begged her to let me in, but she ignored me and said, "Wait until I'm done." Furious, I decided to lock the bathroom from the outside with a hook latch I installed. I had been planning to fix it but hadn't yet, so she couldn't get back in after she left. A few hours later, Katie rushed to use the bathroom, but found it locked. She freaked out and begged me to unlock it, but I told her, "Now you know how it feels." She ended up using a plastic bag in her room. She was mortified and furious, calling me an a-hole for putting her in that position. Our mutual friends are split. Some say she deserved it for not sharing the bathroom, while others think I went too far. So am I the a-hole?
Am I the a-hole for leaving my friend at the bar? I, 28M, took my friend Jake, 28M, out for drinks to cheer him up after a breakup. At first, it was fun, but then he kept whining about his ex, totally killing the vibe. I told him, "Dude, no girl wants to hear you mope all night." He got quiet, but whatever. I ended up hitting it off with someone, and when she invited me back to her place, I wasn't gonna say no. I asked Jake if he was good, he mumbled something, so I left. Turns out, his phone was dead, and he had no ride home. Now he's mad and says I ditched him. But come on, he's an adult. He should have figured it out, right? Am I the a-hole?